So this scenario considers a wealthy couple. They don't have children at home anymore, but they do have their own business and some investments. So let's get started. Married, filing jointly, no
In the
kids at home.
next set of slides,
That
TaxSmack
is
makes some
my voice.
assumptions to make.
Normally when you go through TaxSmack, you'll hear my narration that helps you understand how to proceed and explain some of the results. But since I'm also talking in this video, I'll just mute that for now. All right, back to the show here. Yes, so there's two exemptions for husband and wife. Total income, let's suppose it's $250,000, and their adjusted gross income is $220,000. And remember, what you're supposed to do is have your 1040 in front of you, so you're just pulling these numbers from the front page of your 1040. The standard deduction would be 12.6. We'll suppose they have quite a bit of deductions itemized of 40,000. The tax before credits of 35,000 and change assumes it's all regular income. We'll suppose though that they have some investment income which is taxed at lower rates, so their tax would only be 30,000. The AMT is assumed to be zero. For someone making this type of money, good chance they would be subject to some AMT additional taxes, but we'll not assume they're not. Okay, so total credits, because they don't have kids and they're not paying for college and things like that, they don't have any credits. The total tax of $30,000. That doesn't include other taxes, like since they have their own business, they probably would have payroll taxes that they would need to settle. So we'll suppose they had $8,000 in payroll. Federal income taxes that they've already paid, let's suppose is $40,000. So total payments of $40,000. That includes what they paid in taxes and some other refundable credits, which we'll assume are zero. So here's the first summary graph. They paid 40 grand, their tax liability was 38K, so they get $2,000 tax refund. This next slide is maybe a little more subtle, that out of $250,000, they had over $78,000 that are not taxed due to reductions in taxable income. They had all three types of income. Regular income of $204,000 and change, about $45,000 in investment income. TaxSmack calculates that. And then they had these other taxes of $8,000, which we could pull from the information given. So this is kind of a neat graph, kind of the staircase of starting the 10% bracket, going through the 15, and then going part of the way through the 25% tax bracket. If you're interested in the math, that's on the next screen here. This is a summary of their investment taxes. So investments can be taxed at 0, 15, or 20%. Since they're in the 25% tax bracket, their investments are taxed at 15%. Again, something you wouldn't be able to know just by looking at your 1040. Here's a quick summary then. So they had taxes before credits of 30,000. They didn't have any credits. So, and then adding the 8,000 of payroll taxes brings the total to 38,000. The next few slides ask for a little more specific information, tying things like children or education to how they are saving you taxes. This can look a little imposing if you had to enter all this data, but I don't know if anyone ever has. Most people will have only 2 or 3 items. Let's suppose for them they had their business, so they usually can write off half of your payroll taxes. Maybe they contributed $10,000 to retirement, and maybe the other $16,000 to their health insurance. Itemized deductions. So again, not all these will apply. Maybe 4 or 5 of them though. So suppose they had, let's see, $10,000 in state taxes, maybe $5,000 in property taxes. So the sum of those two is actually line 9 is $15,000. Investment interest, nothing. Interest you paid is primarily mortgage interest from some other lines, less line 14. So we'll go with, they had a pretty big mortgage, $15,000 a year in interest. And then they were pretty charitable, $10,000. Continue. All right. So 2 ways you can save on your taxes, 2 general ways. First is to reduce taxable income by adjustments, deductions, and exemptions. And here they save 28 cents on the dollar, the marginal tax bracket, as it turns out. And then non-refundable credits are fully refundable because they had enough tax to offset. So this is really I consider it the most important slide because it tells you things that are really all over the place in 1040. So they didn't have children or college costs, but for example, their health costs. They had that deduction for their contributions to their health insurance plan. For their home, they could deduct the real estate taxes and the mortgage interest expense, which saves them in taxes in actual dollars $5,600. And in their charitable condition, $10,000 saved them 28% of that in taxes. The last major slide is phase outs. And as you make a high income, at some point the IRS does not give you the full tax benefit of those. So they're roughly ordered from the top. You will have to make a very high income to have your deductions or exemptions curtailed. But here, for example, they wouldn't be eligible for an educational credit because they have an adjusted gross income of over $180,000. So the red means at least approximately, it looks like they would not be eligible at all for these. The child tax credit, it begins being phased out at $110,000, but there's a very long phase-out range, so they may get a little bit of that back if they did have children. They don't. And then, yeah, some of these, like EIC, is for very modest income households. So you could click through these, and again, you can see again they're ineligible for making further IRA contributions because of their high income. But this gives you a way too to kind of double check if you missed something or why you're not eligible for something, maybe like a college, again, cost, is because in this case they made really considerable income. So that's the summary for this wealthy couple. I think I covered it in less than 10 minutes, and thanks for checking out TaxSmack.